Yeah, first I got to yell at Max to get me recording privileges, but
Yeah.
for Josh, I guess I wonder if you could take us through this decision. We talked to you before senior day, and you seemed like you were still undecided at that point, and then it seemed like by after the UCLA game, you had decided you weren't playing at Michigan State at least. What was kind of the evolution of this whole decision you made?
Well, I mean, I took a lot of thought. Definitely wasn't easy just because of the simple fact that I've been playing the game of basketball since I've been 6 years old, and I'm 24 years old now. So definitely, wasn't an easy decision. But I just think, for me and where I see myself, this is the right time for me to pivot into just a different direction, and just try to be excellent in a different field of life. I think sometimes, people have demands on you, and those demands can kind of make you feel like you're obligated to do a certain thing. And that's one thing I wanted to get across in my post on Instagram is that, the sky is the limit to what anybody can do. Everybody has untapped potential. And sometimes the things that you can possibly do, they don't always agree with how people see you. And so that's the difficult part, when you try to make a decision that's not, that's not just accustomed to the status quo. So definitely wasn't an easy decision, but I think, for me, it's a great decision. And, I'm just excited for what's next.
We'll go next to Chris Solari.
Josh, was there anything that changed, or when did you kind of realize that? Because when we talked to you after the UCLA game, there seemed like there was a peace and finality about it. I mean, was there a change at any point, or did you kind of have this thought out? When did you have this thought out?
I think it just kind of progressively went on as, after the UCLA game ended. I definitely, like you said, to answer the first part of your question, I definitely had, a lot of peace. I wasn't excited that we lost the game, but I did have peace. And the reason why I had peace is because I feel like I went out the way that I wanted to. I didn't necessarily let an injury dictate my career. I was able to persevere by God's grace and just keep going. And so, at the end of the day, I finished. I ran my race, I feel like, for this part of my journey, and I'm just excited, for the next part of my race. And, whatever that looks like, I'm just ready for it to come.
And just kind of looking back at this year, what physically, how much did it take to get through it? And on top of that, the amount of minutes you played and the fact that I think you only missed one game. I mean, how difficult was that for you?
It was difficult on so many different, on so many different ends. Just the simple fact that I hadn't played in 2 years. My summer got cut short because of COVID. Couldn't necessarily prepare as much as you could in the past summer, so that was difficult. Just the ups and downs of, trying to just get my body back used to being in a Big Ten game and the physicality and just all the different things, that I was used to doing before I got injured. Definitely made it hard, made it difficult for me to just make those adjustments. But I mean, those are not any, I'm not saying that to make any excuses, but those were things that were real. But my teammates, they really, really encouraged me. My coaches really encouraged me. My family, the people that I had in my corner, they all encouraged me, and that's what really, helped me just continue to keep persevering, throughout the course of the season. Because nobody in collegiate athletes expected just the difficulty that we was going to face, this season. It was hard on everybody. I'm just not the only person that it was difficult for, but at the end of the day, didn't necessarily turn out the way I wanted to, but I did learn a lot of things that I believe I can take with me in my later years of life.
We'll go next to Matt Charbonneau.
Josh, how is this 4 or 5 years or whatever? I think it's 5 years now. How has this changed you? I mean, we think of the Josh Langford coming in as a freshman All-American, and you have all these expectations. Everything you went through, how has it changed you as a person? How are you different now?
I think if I was to answer that question, in totality, I probably take up the whole media space. But I said this in the Spartan vision that I did. I said success. I believe success isn't necessarily about the amount of possessions that you accumulate or the amount of achievements that you reach or whatever you achieve. But I think it's more about how you become more of who you're supposed to be and how you grow. And I think for me, I can say I was successful because I'm not the same Joshua that I was when I came into college. You know, I'm coming out as a man. Obviously, I'm older, but age doesn't always mean that you're going to be more mature. But I think the experiences that I've had, you know, throughout the course of my journey here at Michigan State has definitely matured me and just gave me new perspectives that I never had before. So I'm just thankful for all the experiences. You know, they didn't feel good, but at the end of the day, it made me a better person, made me a better basketball player. And I believe that I will be able to share all of my insight and wisdom that I've gained, you know, throughout the course of these experiences with the next generation that's coming behind me.
You mentioned being excited for what's next. Have you thought about what's next for you?
Yeah, I have a few different things in my mind, but right now at this point, I'm just trying to take it all in and just see, you know, where the wind blows. Of course, I have a plan, but at the same time, you know, you want to be open to just whatever could possibly happen. So that's just kind of where I'm at with that.
All right. I just want to say real quick, I'm sure I speak for a lot of us, but thanks for 4 or 5 years of putting up with us. You've been one of the best that's come through here. So good luck to whatever does come next for you.
Thanks, man. Hey, and I appreciate you guys, man. The media is not as bad as people say. People say they are. Y'all are my friends, man.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, we got a few more here still, Josh, so we're going to keep
Okay,
going
yeah.
with friends.
Yeah.
We've got Kellen Buddy next.
Hey, Josh, congratulations on a great career here at Michigan State. And you touched on it a little bit earlier about your experiences, and the student athlete experience isn't just about what happens on the floor. What can you talk about what can you say about your time kind of off the floor learning at Michigan State and how that more, I guess, student aspect of it is going to help you in your future with your career, whatever it may be?
Oh yeah. The educational side of it has really helped me a lot. It's really taught me a lot of discipline, taught me responsibility. And I think sometimes we undervalue the importance of having an education as athletes, just because you have this thought process, you know, in your mind that you're going to go professional. You're going to have the opportunity to play professional basketball, which may be the case, but at the end of the day, the ball is going to stop bouncing. So you have to take advantage, you know, of the opportunity of getting a free education, because I mean, the fact of the matter is not everybody is able to get the opportunity. Not everybody is able to come out of college debt free. Not everybody's able to just have the experience as a student. And so I think for me, it's definitely has taught me a lot and helped me evolve more as a person. I can't sit up here and say that I've always liked education or I've always liked school. But I can say that, you know, as I've progressed on throughout my educational career here, I've grown to learn the importance of it, and I have grown to like it. You know, with this master's program that I'm finishing up right now, it's definitely been exciting. It's been enlightening, and I'm just getting a lot of understanding. And so I definitely think, you know, education can open doors just as much as your athletic gifts can open doors, you know, if you use those things correctly.
We'll go next to Stephen Brooks for the next question.
Thanks, Max.
Or,
Hey,
Josh.
excuse me. Hey, Josh. Touching on education real quick, will you be leaving? What is your degree in? And do you have 1 degree, two by the time you're done? What does that all look like for you?
Yeah, so I have a major. I major in advertising management with a minor in religious studies. Now I'm working on my master's in the program of education with a concentration on sports coaching and leadership, and I'll be finishing that up sometime around this summer.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
And then I just wanted to ask you, man, you know, as you take this next step, like, what do you sort of see the role of basketball in your life moving forward? I mean, do you want to work in basketball? Are you going to go try to dominate some YMCA men's league or something like that in your free time? You know, like how do you still see yourself, if at all, you know, being around the game, or just what role will basketball play for you, you think, moving forward?
Well, I think I would be around just all sports in general, just because of how relatable my experiences are to the athlete. I think I would be putting myself in the box if I would say I just want to be around the game of basketball. I believe my experiences would allow me to relate and connect with all different kinds of sports. But I definitely, you know, still want to be around the game to some capacity, and I do see myself being around the game to some capacity.
What about tying them up and lacing them up again? I mean, do you think you'll ever, you know, just play casually, and so like I said, some kind of league, or just get shots up? I mean, you know, what do you think in terms of you ever just playing, I guess, obviously non-professional, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely get out in the driveway. Like, just because I'm not playing don't mean I still don't got it. And you know, once, you know, if it works out well, you know, when I have kids, if they want to play the game, I definitely will be able to play with them out in the driveway. And even if they don't want to play, you know, just be something fun that we could do. But, you know, right now, I don't necessarily know if I'll be entering into a YMCA, but I'm sure those juices will get flowing, you know, later on. But we'll just have to see.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Josh, and best
Yeah.
of luck in everything that's next for you, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you.
We'll go next to Audrey Dahlgren.
Hi, Joshua. So this wasn't so much in feeling as your body felt older than a 24-year-old body, correct?
Say it again.
This didn't feel as though like your body felt older than a 24-year-old body in a sense. You're just maybe mentally ready to move on to the next phase in your life.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
I just think it's just time for me to make a pivot. And, you know, like I said in the first question asked, you know, it's not easy, but I am at peace with the decision. So.
And Izzo too, he always has conversations with everybody at the end of the year. And so what were those conversations like with him as you decided whether or not to try to go pro? Because, you know, he has contacts in his phone that, you know, if you wanted to go somewhere, he could probably help you out in that area.
Yeah. I mean, he was supportive both ways. That's one thing about Coach that I think is very unique about him, is that he supports his guys, you know, with whatever decision that they make. He doesn't always necessarily, you know, force his hand. But whatever you decide to do, he's always willing to back it. And even if he can't necessarily help you in a particular area that you want to go in, he'll find a way to get you connected with people that can help you. And so with me and Coach, I mean, he's just been supportive, you know, the whole way. And he's definitely is somebody that I want to just continue to keep in my life. I don't just want him to, I don't want our relationship to end just because I'm not playing here or not playing basketball and all. And I think he feels the same. So, you know, just whatever I do, I know he'll support me. And he said that before. So.
Thanks, Joshua. I appreciate it. Thanks for being so gracious with us always.
Thank you.
It's been nice.
I appreciate you guys too.
We'll go next to Jana Bardall.
Hi, Josh. First, congrats on your decision and your career here at Michigan State. I'm wondering a little bit, you're referring a lot to the analogy of a race, and you feel like you're done with this race here and you're excited for the next race that is coming next for you. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by the race in that analogy?
Well, I just think life is a journey. I think it's a marathon. There's one rapper named Nipsey Hussle. He's deceased now. One thing that he always would say is that the marathon continues. You know, he talked about just how life is a marathon. And I think for me, I just always use that term race because it means so many different things to me. First, it means that, you know, I have my own race, and that means that I don't necessarily have to try to run somebody else's race. And then it also means that even though a part of the race may end, it doesn't mean that I don't have, you know, 2 more legs to go or 3 more legs to go. I think, you know, just because I'm making this decision to stop playing basketball, it doesn't mean that I won't be excellent in a different sphere of life. And so when I talk about the race, that's just kind of what I mean. It's just my journey and, you know, the thing that I'm walking out.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go next to Larry Lage.
Hi, Joshua.
What's up, my friend?
I'm wondering if you were able to keep up your relationship with the mailman that I witnessed you guys talk like a year ago, and it wasn't clearly your first conversation with the mailman. I'm just wondering if COVID got in the way of that.
Yeah, I haven't got to see him in a while, but hopefully I get to see him at some point before if I leave or if I stay. But hopefully I get to see him at some point.
Is that it, Larry? Okay. We'll go next to Dalton Shetler from the Spartan Media Network.
Hey, Josh, again, just like everybody else said, congrats and thanks for everything. I got two for you here. Kind of the reflective one of you're around this program for 3 Big Ten titles, a Big Ten tournament title, a Final Four. You put on a show yourself in Vegas back when you were healthy earlier in your career. Is there a favorite moment for you as you walk away?
I don't think it's a favorite moment for me. I think when I say favorite moment, I don't like one in particular. I just think my whole career here, man, has just been amazing. Like I said before, in some of those moments, it didn't necessarily feel amazing, but I just wouldn't change it for the world. You know, the championships, the relations I've been able to build, the things I've been able to experience, the games I've been able to play in, the things I've been able to just be around. It's just second to none. So I would think I would be doing myself a disservice if I said I had one favorite moment, because it's just so many moments that I've had throughout my course of a career that was just amazing.
And then I remember freshman year when we were sitting down and meeting you, and you talked a little bit about playing back in high school and how you used to play varsity as an 8th grader, and you would get so nervous that you would throw up before you got out onto the floor. You'd throw up in the locker room just because you were so nervous, so anxious. That was about 10 years ago. You talk about how much you've grown up now. Is that kind of one of those things you look back on? I'm like, wow.
Yeah, man, for sure. Definitely look back on those times and be like, man, I've matured so much. But, I think that just speaks volumes to just first, just my relationship with the Lord, but also with the people that he's put in my life to help me mature. I can't, if I was to say I've got this way by myself, I would be telling a lie. But I mean, I've gotten to this point in my life mentally and emotionally and relationally, all because of the people that have been throughout my life, my parents, my sister, all my different coaches that I've had, not just here at Michigan State, but even my AAU coaches, my high school coach, my middle school coaches, my pastors, my friends. It's so many different people that I've been in relationship with that has helped me cultivate into the person that I am right now. So.
Josh, do you have time for a couple more questions?
Yeah, I have time.
Okay. We got two more here, one from Chris Solari, and then looks like we can wrap it up with Fred Heumann.
Wanted to let you know that Graham Couch says you've got an open spot in his pickup game on Sundays downtown if you want to go down there. If you don't mind being the second best player on his team.
Hey, yeah. I don't know if I'm good enough to be on Graham's team.
You mentioned about the relationships of the guys that you've had in this program. I mean, it was a really special time for us covering guys who could break down the X's and O's and the emotions of things with you and Cassius and Jaron and Kenny. I mean, the number of guys that you guys have had during your time that just have that basketball IQ as well as an outward vision. I guess could you kind of explain what that locker room has been like during your time, and as a captain, how did those guys maybe enhance you?
Yeah, I mean, I think my freshman and my sophomore year, because of how the locker room is, I think that's what helped me become the captain that I was able to be my junior and my senior and my, this past year. The people that I've been around, Tum, he had been an unbelievable leader for us, coming into my freshman and my sophomore year. Aaron Harris, my freshman year, Alvin Nellis, Gavin Schilling, Ben Carter. And I can go down the line of different seniors and upperclassmen that that I have been in the locker room with that has really taught me the importance of leadership and the importance of how to approach the game and how to be disciplined and how to make sure that you stay focused. So our locker rooms have been so beneficial to me. And I don't think I will ever leave those principles that I've learned in the locker room. It's like it's embedded into me. So, wherever I go next in my life, all those different principles that I've learned in the locker room, I definitely believe that they will, come out of me just because of how well they've cultivated me and helped me become such a much more better person and also a basketball player. And then, with the coaching staff, it isn't always cookie cutter. It isn't always a walk in the park. It's a lot of conflict. It's a lot of disagreements. It's a lot of arguments. But at the end of the day, all those things that we may think are challenging as a player are the things that really help us, in our future. And it will help us in our future if we, use them the right way. I mean, you look at all the different players that have left Michigan State. The ones that really have taken advantage of all that the locker room and the coaches have to offer are the ones that are super successful, not just in the game of basketball, but in life in general. I mean, I think about a David Thomas or a Matt Ishby or Mateen Cleaves, a Jason Richardson, so many different people that you can see that are successful, not just in the game of basketball, but in the game of life. And it all speaks to the coaching staff that we have, the atmosphere and the environment that we have, the locker room that we have, and the type of players that we bring in.
Thanks. And I echo what Matt said too. Thanks for being so open and introspective and good with us. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys, man.
And we'll wrap it up with one from Fred Human.
Hi, Joshua. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, sir. I can hear you.
The reason so many media people are complimenting you is because you're a rare breed. So I'll add my compliments as well. We don't run across many people like you. So you are to be congratulated. I commend you on that.
Thank you.
Also, you've had many chances to walk away with the adversity before today. How close did you come to doing that? And is the answer never?
How close did I come to doing it before?
Giving it up because there were just too much adversity and too many injuries.
Oh man, you want the honest answer?
Yeah.
I had thought about giving up 100 times, but my friend Tum Tum, he talks about how the urge to quit doesn't necessarily mean you're a loser. The urge to quit actually solidifies that you are a winner. Quitters don't necessarily get the urge to quit because all they do is quit. But winners get the urge to quit because all they do is win. And when I say win, I'm not talking about achieving high level things. I'm saying just walking in a victorious mindset. So if I was being honest with you, man, I thought about giving up so many times. I even thought about giving up this season just because of how hard it was, in terms of COVID and just so many different situations and challenges. If I was just being honest, man, I thought about that right after my first injury, right after my second injury. Those things and those thoughts definitely came through my mind. But I would be lying to you if I said I didn't do it just because of myself. I mean, first and foremost, it's because of the grace of God that helped me just continue to keep going forth. But it was also the people that I was around. And then it was just, what my dad has always instilled in me, and that is to persevere. It was one saying that I've always said, even as a little kid, when you're a child, you can't necessarily talk well. And so sometimes the things that you say are unclear. And so my parents and my family would always joke with me, and they would always say, "What's the motto, Josh?" And I'd be like, "Never give up, never give up." But that was something that's always stuck with me, even back when I was 12 years old, when I was diagnosed with bacterial meningitis, and the doctor said that I could possibly go blind or go deaf, and they said that it would be probably likely for me not to be able to play the game of basketball at a high level or when I went through 2 different hand surgeries in high school, and when I went through a knee surgery in high school as well, or when I came to Michigan State and just went through the tough year that we had my freshman year. It was so many different times that really helped me realize what was inside of me. And what my father has always taught me was to always give all I got and never give up. And so that's what I did. And that's why I can look myself in the mirror now and just be like, you know what? I'm at peace because I finished.
All right, Josh, that appears to be everything we have for you. Appreciate you taking the time, everyone. We appreciate you being available to come on board.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you all.
Thanks, Josh. Best of luck to you, man.
Josh.
Thanks,
Take care.
Joshua.
Don't be a stranger, man.
Yeah.
We'll see you
Yeah,
around
for sure.
Really appreciate
in
it.
person sometime soon.
All right, see everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Max.
Bye.
Thanks, Max.